Hello everyone and welcome to Who Wore It Better, the weekly segment in which I review Raw and Smackdown back to back and try and figure out which show won for the week. Now last week I made a lot of people upset by issuing the first ever draw on this segment. Last week, in my opinion, neither show won. A lot of people point out the irony that I complained about the opening match on Raw last week between Rusev and Reigns ending in a double countout and me giving a draw in that week's episode. Now, what makes mine okay? Well, the fact is, I was more efficient. Be that as it may, though, seriously, folks, your voices have been heard. From now on in the segment, there must be a winner. So, let's begin. Starting things off on Raw with a Roman Reigns, Lana, Rusev segment. The fans don't know what to do with Roman Reigns at this point. They'll cheer for him when he does the sick burns like he did to Lana on Monday night, but they'll boo him every time he throws a punch or hits a move. I don't think the fans know what they want to do with Roman Reigns at this point. It's very confusing for the fans, I'm sure, and it's confusing for me to watch it. Lana telling Reigns very unconvincingly to go to hell, and then Rusev comes out and they have a fight, and Roman Reigns gets knocked out at ringside but has teleportation powers and takes out Rusev on the stage somehow, and then he says that the U.S. title match, the Hell in a Cell, is going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. So hopefully this will be the end of the feud there, and that's what we got out of the first segment. Cruiserweight action as the champion TJ Perkins takes on Brian Kendrick in what I think we all thought was supposed to be a championship match going into Monday night, but it turns out in the pre-show they reneged on that and said it was a non-title match. Don't know when they're going to have the championship match down the line, probably at Hell in a Cell again, but it was very confusing to me because when the match ended and Kendrick won, I thought, oh my god, new champion on Raw. But no, they didn't act very surprised, they didn't very shocked, and oh, just non-title match, like, oh, okay, totally caught me off guard, I must not have been paying much attention. But the match itself I thought was very entertaining. The finger spot in the turnbuckle thing, oh, that looks so brutal. That made me cringe just watching that. I thought it was very interesting. These two guys who really kind of made their name in the SoCal wrestling scene coming up, you know, having this fun match in LA, you know, their stomping grounds. So that was really great. And really, when you think about it, you know, the reactions for the cruiserweights in this match and the one later in the night, much better than the cruiserweight action last week, of course. Last week, the Tony Nese, TJ Perkins match had the CM Punk and Randy Savage chants. LA is definitely a more, you know, smark friendly crowd, more cruiserweight friendly crowd. I mean, hell, PWG runs out of there. They have Bola every year. It's that style of wrestling. So it makes sense the cruiserweights are going to be better received. But anyway, yeah, Kendrick goes over with the captain's hook, now leading into some eventual rubber match for the championship, hopefully. Another Braun Strowman squash this week. The big thing that was different was Strowman actually got some time to talk on the microphone and say to Mick Foley, give me some actual competition next week on Raw. So we have something to look forward to next Monday. I wonder who could answer the challenge for Braun Strowman. That's actually kind of interesting to me. Seth Rollins had his pre-tape promo with Michael Cole, calling Kevin Owens a teacher's pet and vowing to one day regain the Universal Championship. Kevin Owens spent a little bit of time in his rebuttal talking about Seth Rollins, but really most of the big story, big takeaway with the segment was, in my opinion, was the dissension, the teasing of the dissension in the ranks between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens over the Universal Championship. Thought those two had great banter back and forth. Then, of course, the New Day arrived, and all five of them, I thought, had great interaction on the mic. Really funny segment, really fun stuff to watch, leading into a tag team match between the two teams later in the night. Anderson and Gallows taking on the Golden Truth. How can the announcers say that these guys are so dominant, yet for the last month or so, we've only seen Anderson and Gallows losing to the New Day in some form or fashion? See, what they're trying to tell you is they're not losers, they're winners with no winnings, to steal a line from Kids in the Hall. So Anderson and Gallows looking their usual dominant selves, but winning for a change, beating Golden Truth handily in this squash match. You find out in commentary they actually have another tag team championship match coming up against the New Day next week on Raw. We can only hope to see maybe a different result. The backstage segment between Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson. You know, say what you will about the celebrity stuff, but at least the thing with Kutcher and Masterson that you could see these guys actually like cared about what they were doing, and I thought they had a pretty decent performance. That all four of them went back and forth pretty well with their banter. You know, you see some celebrities show up on Raw and look like they just would rather be anywhere else, but with Kutcher and Masterson, you could tell they kind of cared, they got it, which was nice to see. In my opinion, I don't think Jericho and Owens looked like foolish going against Kutcher and Masterson. Masterson in this segment because, you know, their gimmicks, especially Jericho's right now, are ones that are allowed to be a little silly and be a little goofy with characters like this and not suffer for it tremendously because their in-ring stuff does the talking for them. Leading right into the tag team match, Jericho taking on the New Day. Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson were on commentary for this. 5 people doing commentary while this rather long tag team match was going on. To me, it was a little ridiculous. 4 people on the table is bad enough. 3 is pushing it, and that's their standard. When you have 5 people, it just gets ridiculous, and they were just pretty much there to talk about their show on Netflix, The Ranch. But this is a fun match to watch. Can't really say boo about any of the people involved in the match. I loved the stuff when Xavier Woods would take to the air. Of course, Rollins with the distraction near the end of the match, interrupting the Lion Tamer. The Lion Tamer, no longer the most protected submission move in WWE right now. And then, of course, the New Day wins. Rollins comes in and gives Jericho the pedigree while Kevin Owens cowers away and just watches it happen. Again, teasing the dissension between Jericho. They showed a promo advertising that Emma, who's been out for the last several months with a back injury, is going to be being made over as Emelina. Okay, you know, I mean, I don't know what to say about this yet. I don't want to jump the gun and just say, oh, this is crap, this is stupid, when we don't know anything about what this is going to lead to. We don't know what the final product of Emelina is going to be. So I don't want to be negative about it yet. I will say I did like her heel character in NXT after her really quick firing after the whole shoplifting incident. And I liked the glimpse of what we saw on Raw, but we didn't get a chance to see it because she got hurt. So that was kind of kiboshed pretty quickly. So who knows what Emelina is going to be, but I am curious. It's main event time, and it's the first women's championship main event on Raw since 2004 when Trish Stratus and Lita did it. This time it was Charlotte and Sasha Banks in what could be the biggest match in their feud to date. I loved the hype package they showed before this match. Did a great job of showing their history from NXT to the Women's Revolution and all the way up till now. I thought they did a very good job. You know, when they're on, they are on in the video production department. But this match was great. I wish it went a little longer. I wish they took some of the time from the New Day Jericho match and kind of put it on this match, because I think it could, with a few more minutes, I thought it could have been an even better match than it was. It was both women just brought it. Sasha Banks starting things off with a suicide dive very early on. At least she landed relatively safely. Didn't break her neck this time. Yay! Charlotte doing the corkscrew moonsault off the top rope onto the floor, Sasha barely catching her. Holy shit, what a spot. That was crazy. And after this brutal physical match with tons of chills and spills, again, for the second time on Raw, Sasha Banks wins the Women's Championship, making Charlotte tap out to the bank statement. Great way to end Raw. A terrific main event. The women did a very good job for this very historic, again, very historic, the second only women's main event in WWE history. So great way to end Raw. The rumor now is that these two are going to fight again at Hell in a Cell in a cell match. That's the rumor I heard, and if that happens, that's just completely bonkersville, and I can't wait to see if that actually comes true. Moving right on to Smackdown, I'm going to lump all the Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt stuff from this week into this little segment right here. First of all, Smackdown starting off with a match, not a promo, following Raw's lead from last week. It's Bray Wyatt versus Kane, a rematch from Backlash. The match doesn't really get a good conclusion because Randy Orton interrupts Bray Wyatt, he distracts him, and Bray Wyatt kind of looks like a dolt for running out and just not finishing the match, and then having the nerve to laugh at Kane after he lost via countout like an idiot. All right. But then they did this whole role reversal thing from last week when it was Randy Orton looking for Bray Wyatt backstage. This week it was Bray looking for Randy. Randy traps Bray Wyatt, the classic rocking chair in the storage container, that old chestnut, that old trap, that trapped Bray Wyatt, and he was in there for a while. Why can't, doesn't this guy know teleportation? Can't he just go bip, 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 and like be gone? I thought that was very weird. So then the one interesting thing about the whole thing was you see him there in the storage shed and he says hi to an invisible Abigail. The next thing you know, Randy Orton opens the shed door and he's gone. And that's kind of how it is. That's Bray Wyatt getting one up on Randy Orton. God forbid Randy Orton look weak in this whole storyline. I think it's just ridiculous how every week it's just been so one-sided. Even in this victory for Bray Wyatt, it's not a very convincing one. It's just, oh, he teleported away somehow. I don't know. It's so dumb to me. I just want this thing to be over with, honestly, at No Mercy. Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Bella quickly turns into a tag team match, so it's Alexa and Carmella taking on Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch. The tag team portion was actually a pretty fun match to watch. They did a very good job here killing two birds with one stone. These are the two prominent female storylines on SmackDown at the moment. Alexa Bliss with the Twisted Bliss after Carmella boots Becky Lynch. So the heels win this match. It was a good match. It was a fun match. They got what they needed to have done. But if I never see another women's tag team match on SmackDown at this point, it will have been too soon. I'm going to say SmackDown was like a 1, maybe 2 segment show this week, and this was like the segment for me. The Miz TV doing the Dolphumentary, bringing Dolph Ziggler out and then kind of putting him over, and then showing this hilarious trailer of all the different times, of all the ups and downs, mostly the downs of Dolph Ziggler's career. They even showed a clip of the 1 week where he had brown hair and he was a weird twin of Matt Sydal. It was really weird. Great promo in response by Dolph Ziggler. I thought it was one of his best promos yet, and then it follows it up with the return of the Spirit Squad. Well, 2 of them anyway. It was Kenny and Mikey from the Spirit Squad. Kenny's looking great, Mikey not so much, but then they did the cheers and stuff. It was kind of dead with the crowd because most of the audience, they're too young to really know what the Spirit Squad was about, so I thought it was kind of funny that they had that. And then, of course, the Spirit Squad, they jump Dolph Ziggler, but he fights back, and so it was kind of it was a fun little trip down memory lane, kind of a this is your life kind of thing. But yeah, I thought the whole segment from top to bottom was great. Jack Swagger in his SmackDown debut since the brand split going against Baron Corbin. It was a fun physical match, but it had a very confusing, very weird ending. It was a thing where Swagger had Corbin in the ankle lock and Corbin was reaching for the ropes, but his hand was going up and down, and the referee interpreted that as tapping out, and he rung the bell. Everyone looked dumb as a result of this finish. Now, I get on one level why they did it. They were trying to protect both guys. You don't want Swagger losing right out the gate on his SmackDown debut, and of course, they've been having Corbin on such a roll, you don't want him to lose either in a clean, decisive way. But what they did was they made Swagger kind of look like a chump taking this tainted victory, and you had Corbin look like an idiot, losing in this very dumb fashion. Like he was screwed, like he didn't deserve to lose like that. And JBL was the voice of reason on the commentary. Otunga and Ronaldo were saying, oh, that's fine, but JBL was actually the voice of reason, which was weird. So kind of a rocky finish to this match that was otherwise pretty fun. Obviously, this will probably lead to some more rematches down the line. The Cena Styles Ambrose face-off to close the show. Ambrose and Styles really raked Cena over the coals. Cena only got a few words in, and the words were "talk is cheap," and then they start fighting. Cena attacks Ambrose. Styles attacks Cena. Ambrose attacks Styles. Everyone in this segment looked good. Even Cena, who said nothing, looked good at the end of it, even though he was just like verbally beaten to death by the other 2 guys for this segment. I thought, everyone looked strong at the end. So I'm really excited now about where this is going to go at the pay-per-view. So now it's time to decide who wore it better, Raw or SmackDown. I did some thinking about this week, folks, and I realized that SmackDown was the winner this week, but in my opinion, not by much. Like I said earlier, SmackDown this week was like a 1-2 segment show for me. There was the Dolphumentary and there was the promo stuff at the end. Not one bit of it, in my opinion, was wrestling. There was no wrestling highlights for me, really, on this show, on SmackDown. But it's the promo stuff, to me, that carried it. Raw, they had their strong points as well. Again, mostly promos. The Women's Championship match was awesome. The Cruiserweight stuff was exciting, even though the crowd was kind of dead for it. But yeah, ultimately, I think SmackDown, to me, was just a better show. Now, a lot of people might not like me saying this, but I think a lot of people in the comments section the last few weeks are like, how can you ever give Raw an inch? You're a Raw fanboy by saying anything positive about them. SmackDown's this amazing show. They have these amazing storylines. No, they have... Okay, here's the thing. Since the brand split, SmackDown, to me, has had like 3 good storylines. Are you ready? Here they are. 1, Heath Slater, free agent. Far and away, my favorite storyline since the brand split on SmackDown. 2, Ziggler Miz, which I only now just started getting interested in again after they threw in the career versus title stipulation. And then the WWE title feud, especially like this past week on SmackDown. That, to me, are the only things I'm really invested in. Everything else, I'm not that interested in. Like the Women's Championship, the women's stuff is okay. The women's stuff is good. They're telling competent stories. The Usos heel turn needed to be done. But, it's like I'm still kind of waiting for the real heat to start, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, kill me now. I'm so sick of that feud. Now, let me just say, I think that SmackDown, by default, is a better show than Raw. But that's not that hard to do. In my opinion, you could have 2 hours of a monkey with its head caved in trying to solve long division, and it could be more entertaining than what Raw is doing right now. So, hell of an accomplishment, Blue Team. SmackDown, to me, is not an amazing show like some people say. It is an average show with amazing talent. That's the difference. I don't want people to be confused. See, people I think are being confused by the mere presence of storylines existing, and they're confusing that with them automatically being good. I think we as fans over the years have just been conditioned to eat shit and like it when it comes to the content and the storylines, that with SmackDown, they're actually putting together storylines with beginnings, middles, and ends. Simple, competent storylines, and now we think they should win an Emmy. So yeah, by default, I think SmackDown is a better show than Raw, but it's not like this and this, like some people want to believe. I think it's more like this and this. Like SmackDown just barely has the edge. And really, again, I've said this before in the show, the biggest handicap for Raw is time. If it weren't for that third hour, I think it'd be a much stronger competition against SmackDown. And really, it's like people say, oh, you're a Raw fanboy, you're trying to keep it close. I don't give a shit who wins week to week. That's just kind of how the cards have fallen. It's just my opinion on these shows. I'm just saying that I'm getting a little more bored. I'm not as easily impressed with SmackDown like I used to be. The luster has worn off, and to me, SmackDown is kind of settling into this complacency thing, and it's not a case of Raw catching up. They're falling down to where Raw is, and I think SmackDown needs to work a little harder to get back up there. That's all I'm saying. So that's it for me this week, folks. I do want to say before I wrap up, I am going to be in Sacramento this Sunday for No Mercy, and like what I did with Money in the Bank in Vegas earlier this year, I'm going to document my experience there live in the crowd and live in color, and that's, of course, thanks to SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that aggregates tickets from all over the web to make ticket buying easier, whether it's for concerts, for sporting events, for WWE, and beyond. SeatGeek is there. Their tickets are labeled 1 to 100. They have a 1 to 100 score to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal. Of course, the green means good, the red means bad, and the orange is somewhere in between. One of the best things about SeatGeek is there's no hidden fees. The price you see on the ticket is the price you pay. And of course, with a lot of the events you're looking up, you can see actually the view from where your ticket is, which is pretty cool. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, go to the link in the top of the description to download the app right now. And if you're buying a ticket, use the promo code ZANE at checkout and get $20 back on your first order. If any of you guys and gals are going to be in Sacramento this Sunday for No Mercy, I want to meet you guys. Keep your eyes peeled. Check out my Twitter and Facebook pages in the days to come, and I'll be announcing a meeting time and meeting place to meet you guys in person sometime before the pay-per-view. I really hope to see you guys there. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it. Comment below. Let me know who you thought this week, Raw or SmackDown. Subscribe to Wrestling with Wregret and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.